All right, let us start. Yeah. So, okay, we go back to the Sutra of the 42 chapters. So, Cynthia, you you're new to me, so you probably don't know that. I don't know whether you are aware that we actually have started on this sutra. It's literature, a Buddhist literature called 42 chapters, uh, way back. Oh, beginning of the last year, probably. Yeah, I think so, something like that. Yeah, February. Yeah. So we only finished half, so you still have half to go. So this is Cynthia here. Cynthia, right? Yeah. So, okay. So every time we start off, we are grateful that we are able to hear the Dhamma through the words that have been passed down. So every time we start to recite the name of the Sakyamuni Buddha 3 times, but it's in Chinese. Okay. All right. Okay. Let us start. Nam mô Bổn Sư Sư Cha Mâu Ni Phật. Nam mô Bổn Sư Sư Cha Mâu Ni Phật. Nam mô Bổn Sư Sư Cha Mâu Ni Phật. That means we take refuge, or we seeking refuge in the fundamental teacher, actually in the teachings of the teacher. Okay. And there's this opening gatha, the Dhamma infinitely profound and subtle, is rarely encountered even in a million kalpas. Now we are able to hear, to study, and to practice. May we fully understand and realize the true teachings of the Tathagata. Tathagata, that means the Buddha. Are the words too small? I'm sorry, I chose this theme. As if it looks like a splash of paint. It's actually a very nice color on my computer. It just shows up to be very faint, dusty color on the TV. Is the lighting? Oh, that's okay. I'll change the theme next time because this is not my computer. My computer crashed. Somebody make it crash. So he has to compensate me. So I've been away. The camera is gone. Oh, all right. Okay. So I've been away. I've been away, and I've always promised that I always tell you what I've done in the past when I've gone away. So this is my Dhamma duty for the last 2 months. Have a look. Oh, too small. Never mind. So November 9th to 20th, I've done a 10-day Vipassana meditation course up in Merritt. Okay. Then 21st, we have a Sanghadana in Vancouver. And then 22nd to 25th, what did I do? I went to Pudong in Shanghai in China. That means I flew over. Well, I check out a Windows factory where we are going to order Windows from China. It's much cheaper. So we actually skip the middleman. So we save quite a bit of money. And one thing in the factory was really surprising. Actually, was very surprisingly happy, because you see the windows, they all have a seal around the frame and the glass, right? Normally people just pack it in, like stuck it in like a strip of plastic and stuck it in. But this factory is all hand done. He used a glue gun and spread the glue and do it by hand, all windows. So I said, can I have a look at how he does it? Because they have huge windows. We're going to have huge windows too. So I want to make sure that he doesn't stop and then he start again. There's a gap, right? So I said, can you show me? So they said, he's supposed to be off, but we seen him this morning around the factory. So they found him. So he showed me. He was showing me a window. This is probably 4 feet, right? 3 feet, 4 feet. He showed me a window 6 feet by 8 feet, quite a very big window, and so he cut out the glue and everything. And I saw that he was very meticulous, how he cut out the glue, the tip of the glue, the glue, and then he attached a tip, and then he started. And I looked at him, how he did it. And he just did one go like this. And after he did it, he did the whole window. And I said, okay, I wanted to ask you, are you aware from here to here, how many breaths you have taken? And he thought, one breath. I said, wow, good. He said, if I don't watch my breath, if I don't do it in one breath, I stop, then it stops. Then I have to redo it again. I said, great. I said, how long have you been doing this? 8 years. I said, good. You know why? I said, because I saw from his face, I said, because you are a very, very fast person and you have a very, very heated temper. If you don't do this kind of job, you will constantly lose your temper. And he said, yes. I said, so when you go home and if you're going to get angry with your kids or your wife, think of how you are doing this. And he looked at me and he had such a big smile. It was so funny. You can see he was really, really concentrated. So that is the kind of mindfulness. But that is a kind of mundane mindfulness. But it can still be, it can still be beneficial. All right. So one little experience at the Windows factory. Okay, then there is a 26 to 7. There is a Hong Kong Buddhist paintings exhibition. I will show you those paintings later on, not tonight. And then 28 to 29, I went to Xiamen, so I took the plane again from Hong Kong to China. I had a 2 days life and death workshop with 80 people. It was wonderful because that was the first time ever they heard about people talking about death or near death, and the hospice service that we actually provide. So 30th went back to Hong Kong. On the 29th night, I went back to Hong Kong closing ceremony. Then I flew back here on the 2nd to San Francisco for the elders' annual celebration and Yang Sifu's memorial in San Francisco. Then came back here on the 3rd evening of the 3rd and do the Yang Sifu's memorial on the 4th. Then I flew out on that night to Hong Kong again because I went to Putin, where we look at the Buddha statue again. So some more amendment to the Buddha statue. So another page for my Dhamma duty. The 12th to 18th, 7-day meditation retreat in Hong Kong with 101 students. 101 students for 7 days. Then I went to Wunan in China. Then another 7 days started on 21st to 27th. In China, it was cold. It was very cold and wet and no heat. 3 degrees and no heat, very humid. So I was all bundled up, but still it was cold. But anyway, and the 28th and then I took the train from Hunan we drove back to Changsha, 2 hours drive. I got on the train, 4 hours train to this place called Nanchang. And I deliver a 1-day life and death workshop on the 28th. Then the next morning, I took the train to Putian to look at the Buddha again. And then flew back, and I came back. Then I came back. Here I am. Hey! So I want to show you some of the pictures. So this is the 1 day, the 7 days meditation camp in Hong Kong, where we started off with some teachings for walking meditation. Okay. Then this is the 7 days retreat in China. We didn't take any pictures when students there. And this is the 1 day life and death workshop, the last 1 day, 140 people. And this is In the morning, we had a 3 hours mindfulness meditation, quiet time. And in the afternoon, sorry, and I delivered a lecture on life and death in Chinese, in Mandarin, 140 people. They had 80 people on the waiting list. In Hong Kong, we have 101 students. We have 50 people on the waiting list. Couldn't get in. I only had, I could only enroll 100 people. So we enrolled one extra. So I want to share with you the final Buddha, the final sculpture of the Buddha statue. Yeah. So I was still correcting some of the little things, the eyes, the eyes, the ears, and the face. So you see, this is the owner of the factory, and this is me here. So this is a side view. So this is one of the sculptors. This is the mud model, okay, a mud model. So in the next couple of weeks, they're going to put plaster of Paris on to make a mold, and then that will be called a negative mold, and then there will be a positive mold, and I don't know how they're going to do it to actually allow them to sculpture on the wood. So I asked them to put more on the face because the face is sort of lopsided. So put more on the face. And so I look at them and I look at him and I said, okay, this needed to change. So you add more. And so I went away for an hour, come back and have a look at it again. No, this is not quite right. So he put that on and then he tried, because if I constantly look at it, I can't see anything. So look at it. Wow. This is it's beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. Look. He doesn't look like Chinese, nor he looks like Caucasian. But he's sort of like I told you, this is an ancient style, like the Afghanistan style of the tribes in that era. So that's why I wanted to make it like this, because I'm Chinese. Maybe the next generation will still have some Chinese nuns. I think 2 generations later could be all Caucasian nuns, Caucasian congregation. Let's hope that. So that's why I wanted to actually make a Buddha statue with less Chinese features, so that it resonates more with the mainstream people. You like it this way? It's beautiful, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Of course, and I think you will be very happy to be here too. It's going to be 14 feet high, 14 feet high together with the platform. Total height would be 14. So he's about 10 feet, and yeah, he's going to weigh, I think, 2 tons or 3 tons. So yeah, there is only little things that needed to be adjusted, and otherwise it's all done. Yeah, if you see it there, it's just, you just want to look at it all the time. And it actually is so compassionate. The face and the smile is so compassionate. I hope that when the wooden one is done, the wooden one won't be exactly the same. At least, hopefully, it will be 90% close to it. So because wood is difficult, because wood is tough, right? It's more rigid, and mud is very moldable, so it's easier. Okay. Yes. The mud model and the negative model, what happens to them? Oh, this one is actually cracking up already. Yeah. Yeah, it's cracking up already because it's mud. So every day they need to spray water on and then wrap it up until next day they take the top out. And so that's why I needed to go so urgently. Um, this mud model is going to go, but the plastic, the negative mold, when he pours a positive mold, the mold is going to stay there. So I wonder, maybe in the future I can have that mold too. I told him nobody can replicate this because this is one and only one for Polam. Nobody can replicate. So maybe later on I will change my mind, but not now. Until it's done for us first. Yeah. But not many people would like this kind of simple style, especially Chinese. Chinese like more glamorous, more like more decorative style, more glamorous style. But I like this really simplistic one. Yeah, it's going to be very very different. The hall, the new hall will be very very different.
What's the main tone of the wood?
Um,
Or
uh,
shade or
red cedar, red cedar. But he said he needs to paint because otherwise it will crack very fast. And the tone of the wood, I would like it to be closer to this tone, to be like darker shade. But we need to think of lighting. If the lighting is not good, then the darker it looks like bloop, like a blob of thing in the hall, like this water sava. It used to be as dark as the color of the shrine, but it looks so a blob of brown, like, and it doesn't look nice. So he has to go with very good lighting.
because you need the shadows of
Yeah, the details. And the platform is yellow cedar. Yes, so the Buddha itself is red cedar, and the platform is yellow cedar. So it's two different tones of wood. Yeah. So okay, see, so that is my Dhamma duty for that 2 months, and you can see that there are like little gaps, like a day or two. It's traveling time. It's all traveling time. It's just too crazy for those. When I reached to the second 7 days meditation retreat, I said, I wish I haven't done this. Yeah. After teaching a 7 day, because I'm really teaching, right? I was really teaching, not playing tape. So it's live teaching. So it really drawn out a lot of energy. And with 100 students, there's a lot of things to deal with. And then when I reached the second course, I thought, oh, I wish I hadn't done this. I told all my surfers, I said, I'm not going to do this again. Next year, I'm not going to do this anymore, because I mean, really, the loss of stamina and energy is catching up on me. So I need to really preserve my energy to for like, prolong my Dharma life, to do more Dharma duties, right? If I cram everything in like this, it's just too much for the body to take. The mind doesn't rest much, and the body cannot rest well. So okay, so let's get back to chapter 21. Can you see from the back? Except that splash. I can't see very well on my screen. Okay. Chapter 21, it says, seeking fame consumes the person. The Buddha said, people follow their desires. Actually, it's the whole paragraph, but I just divided into 3 paragraphs. The Buddha said, people follow their desires to seek fame. By the time fame is achieved, the body has fallen apart. And then he follows that, craving for lasting worldly fame instead of learning the way, we wear out the body with fertile efforts. Fertile, that means rich, right? Futile is not rich. Like a burning incense, its body is turning into ashes as people smell its scent. Be aware that imminent fire will consume you. So that is chapter 21 of the 42 chapters. And what does the Buddha mean? sorry. He said, the Buddha said, the people follow their desires to seek fame. By the time fame is achieved, the body has fallen apart. So why do we seek fame? Why do we have such desires? Because we created it. We created it? Really? We were taught to create. We were taught to fight for this when we were little, since we were little. When we were put into kindergarten. So you as parent, you would probably tell your children what not to do and what to do. Those are the values that actually we put to our children. And if we keep on telling our children that, well, you need to study hard so that you get good marks, so that you will be in front, you will be one of the top 10. So those are the values that we give to our kids, and those actually are our teachings for our kids to actually to reach certain kind of achievement, right? But when we grow older, then we are able to think, we are able to judge. Then we will be judging. Yeah, well, he's so well off, he's so famous, and I want to be famous. I want everybody in this room to know me. I don't want to sit in that cold corner and be by myself. Nobody knows me, and we say, "Hey, who are you? I don't know you." And you introduce yourself. Oh, I'm Sister Jessie. Oh, who is Sister Jessie? Where do you come from? And you start to feel, oh, they don't know me. Doesn't feel right. So, oh, yes, Sister Jessie, I've heard about you all the time. Wow, you feel so. You feel that you have achieved something. So I think we are in, especially in this at this kind of time of our next generation, is even worse, or the younger generations is even worse, because they were taught they need to have fame. If they are not famous, they haven't achieved anything in their life, right? So, and they also, I think there's a very wrong concept is you can be happy only when you have fame. You will be happy only when you are rich, right? That happiness come from fame, happiness come from wealth, happiness come from power, happiness come from achievement, mundane achievement. We always think that those are the way that we will attain happiness. But is that true? Depends on how you actually justify happiness. So what do you think about the mundane happiness that actually come with fame, come with wealth, come with status, come with authority, come with power?
You lose it all when you die.
That's so sad, isn't it?
Before then, you lose it before you die.
Exactly. You lose it before you die. Because why? It's transient. It changes all the time. You don't actually lose it, but it goes by itself, doesn't it? It only stays for a certain period of time and it goes away.
Even if you have it, you're not going to be able to use it. If you're lying, dying, what good is it? If it's
Yeah.
gonna serve you?
Yeah. And then, I mean, and also that happiness, we think that happiness can last long, can last forever. It doesn't. That's why a lot of wealthy people, they keep on working very hard to make more money because they think that they don't have enough money. So if you think that they are so rich, they should be happy, right? They happy really? If they are happy, they should stop really working so hard to get more money. If the happiness equals rich, equals wealth, but does happiness really equals wealthy or rich. Not really. It's not proportional, right? I can still, I remember when we were little, we talked about that just a couple of months ago among the siblings, talking about that when we were little, and it was like typhoon number 10 signal up, and we were all rushing to the pier to pick up all these plastic flowers that come that come loose because the wind just brought all the carton boxes from the ship and blew it onto the ashore, and so we could go and pick them up. And then my sister said, "You remember?" I said, "Yes, I was only 6 at that time." And we had so much fun. At that time, we thought that we were happy. We were actually happy because we picked up so many plastic flowers. We could sell it for like 5 cents, 10 cents. At that time, 5 cents, 10 cents to us was a big thing, and we were very happy because we could buy little biscuits and we could buy Jello, and we could buy so many things with just 10 cents at that time. We were so happy just for the little thing that we had. But it was transient. Soon we lost it, right? But so happiness doesn't necessarily equals wealth. Okay. So why do you think that people constantly want to seek fame, constantly wanted to be famous, constantly wanted to have high achievement, except they think that brings happiness? What do you think the mental part? Or you have any idea about the mental part?
I think it's because we want to
Contribute.
yeah, to the world, but we're not always clear on what's the best way to be.
Okay. When you're famous, you can contribute more?
Well, in the process of getting famous, how everyone got famous is because they've done something.
Uh-huh. Okay. Do you think that's just the intention?
I think so. I think it's very anxiety provoking.
Anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to hear that word. Yeah. So
Well, I think it's connected to to the ego.
yeah. And what do you think, which part of the ego, what kind of emotion that ego carries?
Well, that's the craving part.
Okay, craving part. Yeah. Why do we crave?
It's great.
We are ignorant, okay. Why we are ignorant? Why do we crave in the beginning? Why?
For the sensation.
For the sensation? Okay, yeah.
Fearful.
Who said fearful? Cynthia? Fearful, yeah. We are fearful. There is actually a lot of fear and insecurity. Insecurity in us, the fear of loneliness, the fear of being poor, the fear of being neglected, the fear of not being acknowledged, the fear of so much. That's why people wanted to be famous.
Fear of dying because you think more money can keep yourself alive longer.
Yeah, that's just very good. The fear of the fear of mortality, right? Is that the fear of mortality? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that we are actually, in us there is a lot of fear inside us. There is a lot of deep hidden fear, and so that I think that is why we tend to actually try to achieve more fame, try to be more famous, because if we have not achieved anything in this life, then what's the meaning of our life? So that's why when people getting old, or when people getting sick and they lie on the bed and say, "Oh, I'm useless. I'm a burden. I'm burden to everybody," because they think that they are useless. They think that they cannot do anything. They think that they're not achieving. And only achieving is the meaning of life. They attach that to meaning of life, right? So what is the meaning of life? We really have to contemplate and reflect upon ourselves. What is the meaning of my life? Do I recognize myself? Do I accept myself? Do I embrace myself? Do I actually praise myself? Rather than waiting for others to praise us, rather than waiting for others to accept us, have we accepted ourselves? That's actually very important. That's why it's so many depression, so much depression, anxiety, and guilt feeling in this world in a lot of people, because they haven't accepted the way they are. And they always pointed the finger back to themselves. Oh, I wish I have done this. I'm so guilty. I feel so bad. Blah, 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 blah. So reflect upon ourselves. What's the meaning of our life? What do we want to achieve? Yeah. As the recognition and respect really come from fame, come from authority, come from power? Not really. No, I don't think so. I think sometimes the recognition and the respect, because a person is famous, could be fake, right? Well, you ought to respect the president-elect, right? But is it a true respect? I doubt it. You know, for a lot of people, I doubt it. So it's actually this a very, very deep topic for us to actually reflect upon ourselves. So the Buddha said, craving for lasting worldly fame instead of learning the way, we wear out the body with futile efforts. The Buddha said we wanted to seek fame, but when we achieve that, our body has already fallen apart. Can we see how long we have to work to fight to develop before we can be famous? Look at Polam, 21 years. Have you read that article on Buddhist Store? They just published an article I put together with the help of Laurie and Ever, doing some addition, and the editor in Buddhist Store also edited it a little bit. They actually published it as a special edition on the 29th of December, I think. I think, Ever, can you send them the link? Some of them may not have Facebook. Yeah. So look, Polam has been around for 21 years. And you go into the city center and ask people, you know Polam? Do you know there's a Buddhist temple here? Nobody, hardly anybody knows. Hardly anybody knows. But is Polam not famous? Polam is quite famous in a way. in some kind of a way, Polam is famous. But mostly Polam is famous because of the way that Polam is actually the Dharmic way, the Dharma path that Polam has adopted. Polam is famous in that way. In among many practitioners or non-practitioners, Polam is famous in that part, because of the Dharma part that is famous, not the mundane fame. It's not like the big temple in Richmond. They have to queue up on Chinese New Year Eve because they want to go in to light, to offer an incense. So they queue up all the way on Stevenston Highway with the RCMP to come and and look after the traffic. But not in Poland. Poland people go to bed at 10 o'clock. Even New Year's Eve, right? Because we are seeking, we are developing in a different way. Okay. So craving for the lasting worldly fame instead of learning the way, we wear out the body with futile efforts. So that's what the Buddha said. We actually wasted our efforts if we really using up all our energy to actually look for this worldly fame. Because why? The worldly fame is transient, it's impermanent, and it's always, always changing. Okay, you be happy when you become famous. Okay, for so long. For how long? Okay, the most 4 years. All right, you be happy. Happy, happy, happy. After 4 years, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to be unhappy for the rest of your life? You're going to be unhappy because you lose that worldly fame. You don't have that worldly fame anymore. It's also the worldly fame is transient, and also it's actually because it's material, right? It's material, and material thing is impermanent. And so if we cannot actually reflect upon ourselves, and if we could not correct ourselves, there is no true happiness. No true happiness. The happiness is going to last only for a very, very short time. But even though, like now, I have been a nun for 25 years, I have had many unhappy moments in my life, in my monkhood. But I have a lot of happiness, and that happiness constantly nourished me, and constantly actually helped me to overcome the unhappiness moment that I have. And why would we have unhappiness? Because we bump into unpleasant situations, we bump into unpleasant people, we bump into unpleasant things, and all those we can see, all those are external. But the true happiness is actually internal. And the unhappiness that you get because of these external things is transient. Firstly, it's transient, it doesn't last. But you can actually overcome. You can overcome that difficulty yourselves by having that mindfulness, by having that equilibrium, by having that equanimity of the mind. And when you actually look at these unpleasant situation, people or things, that equanimity, that equanimous mind actually would help you to relieve that unhappiness, that unpleasantness. And your true happiness, the happiness that you actually have, the happiness that we have in the mind is not really like rowdy happiness. It's kind of like peace and calmness and sanity. And that kind of ease is really nourishing and is transforming. And also, it allows you actually to transcend your limitations and make you really a better person, right? So the Buddha said, try to actually avoid constantly seeking fame, because if we constantly try to seek fame, we actually dive ourselves in these cycles of craving, constant craving, repeated cycles. Okay, and that will hinder our transformation, our correction. And how much time do we have on earth with this life? Only this life. Don't talk about the past nor the future, but this life. How old? There's a very famous cartoonist in Hong Kong. He was there when we were little, and he drew pretty. Next week I'll show you some of his cartoon. He died just yesterday, I think. He was 97. And the young generation couldn't remember him, but he brought us many happy moments because his cartoon was really humorous and also sarcastic, very sarcastic. And it was actually very, very, so I mean, 97. So what? 120. Okay, so what? It also is a limit. There's a limit there, right? So how can we actually transcend that limitation? Is stop looking for any kind of mundane achievement. Does it mean that we become numb? Don't do anything. Oh, you go home and tell your children you don't have to study, you don't have to go to school, you don't have to play your violin, you don't have to, speak your Spanish. No, they still have to try to do their best in their part. If they get to be famous, they don't have to. If they don't have to actually push people down to become famous, step on people to become famous. That's very important. That's why the Buddha said, and the third part is like a burning incense, his body is burning into ashes as people smell its scent. But be aware, the imminent fire will consume you. We can look at these two paragraphs at the same time. Why would I say, well, the kids, the children still have to fight, but they need to know the ethics on how to live their life. The ethics are very important. The morality, the moral part of life is very important. And you have to start them when they are little, when they are young. Otherwise, when they get old, they can't pick it up anymore. Okay. So like a burning incense, though, we burn an incense. When when you have an incense that you cannot smell it unless you go and smell like this, okay? But when you start to burn, when it start to turn into ashes, the smoke will bring the smell out, will bring the scent out. You can start smelling the scent of that particular incense. Oh, that's a nice smell, or that is not a nice smell. That is a nice agar wood, or that is a nice whatever wood, okay, that you are burning. So you can smell, you can only smell when that incense actually turn into ash, right? So what the Buddha said, it is actually an analogy, is when we get famous, our body will start to get old, wilted, old, like somebody trying, um, okay, when we get old, we get all sorts of wrinkles. So that's why all sorts of cosmetics, right? So you put these cosmetics on, you put, remove your wrinkles. And nowadays there is something on the Facebook is that you dab things on your back here, and they have a camera on there, and then look, 1 minute all this back is gone. So that they think that getting rid of the wrinkles means that they are growing younger, although they're not growing old anymore. This is a fake thing. So the Buddha said, when we get famous, our body already start to actually wind down because we need to spend time to get famous. And he said, be aware, the imminent fire will consume you. Why do we have to be aware? Because when a lot of people wanting to be famous, they don't care what they do. They don't care how they get to be famous. They don't care how they become rich. They don't care. All they want is to become rich, to become famous. They take all avenues to make themselves famous, to make themselves rich. So the Buddha said, be aware the imminent fire will consume you. That means the fire of karma will follow you. The fire of karma will follow you. The fire of karma will not be extinguished when you die, when we die. It follows us. I just heard a story from one of my students in Hong Kong. There is this very young lady, very young, beautiful young lady, very smart. She works at one of the banks in Hong Kong, famous bank, personal banking, personal financial banking. And then she switched to another bank, and she took a lot of the big accounts, the information of those big accounts to the other bank, and call up those people, ask those people to open up accounts in that new bank. Then my student said she was one of those big accounts. But one day she looked at her statement. She said, "Strange. I haven't made any transactions for the last couple of months. How come my bank has so many transactions? My bank statement has so many transactions." She found out she did not lose much. She only lost about 1,000 Hong Kong dollars. That's about like 150 Canadian dollars. But she said something's not right. So she went to the bank. And the bank said, "We are investigating already." So a girl being so smart and already like climbing up the ladder or in the commerce area, in the commercial sector, but because of craving, she wanted to make more money. She wanted to climb up higher. She wanted to be more famous, whatever intention that she wanted. She manipulated her clients' accounts, and she was caught. She was imprisoned. Now, forever, she had a criminal record with her. So that greed actually is a poison, a real big poison for this mind. And so that's why the Buddha said, be aware, the imminent fire will consume you. The imminent fire will not just consume you, will follow you. Will follow you wherever you go until the seeds of those fires are all exhausted. Okay? All right? Ready for chapter 22? Chapter 22 is very easy. I've told you, the rest of the chapters are actually very, very simple, but they carry very deep meaning. Wealth and lust bring suffering. The Buddha said people are reluctant to renounce wealth and sex. These are like honey on a knife's blade. You all smile. Which is not enough to appease one's hunger. Yet a child who licks this honey is in danger of cutting his tongue. Okay? So the Buddha said people are very reluctant to renounce wealth and sex, and that is very true because we attach so much because we think wealth is very important for our life, and sex is very important because on a sensual basis, it's sensual satisfaction. So, and these are like honey on a knife's blade. So honey is actually is an analogy, an analogy of like sweetness, pleasantness, fulfilling sensual pleasure at that very moment when somebody is licking the honey on the blade. So it's kind of like what? It's kind of like addiction. Yeah? Addiction is just like this. Addiction, that moment of addiction is just like this. And people would just follow that addicted mind and go and seek ways to fulfill that addiction. So addiction to drugs, addiction to sex, addiction to sensual pleasures, addiction to torturing yourselves, or addiction to I have a friend whose daughter has lately just have this addiction of cutting herself. I think you have experience with some of your kids, right? And your clients. And I said, when did they start? She said she started at high school. Now she's already working. I said it's already becoming habit, an addicted habit, a habit of addiction, of cutting when life doesn't flow sweet and sound. They cut because there's a pleasure. Somehow in their mind, they think that they can take out that suffering by doing this. And so that is a really wrong concept. So looking at the whole paragraph here, and what he means by here, a child, yet a child. You think that the Buddha really means a child? No. He means that is a person who is ignorant and not knowing the danger of licking that little honey on that very sharp blade of knife. Okay. So when somebody is really addicted to this kind of pursuit of lust and wealth, it is actually very difficult to stop unless they have that kind of awareness, unless they become aware of themselves, unless they actually find a way to how to stop themselves. Otherwise, the craving will become stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And the intention to actually lick the honey on the blade becomes more and more, stronger and stronger. And because of the intention, they will go and lick. The more they lick, the more they will cut their tongue. You see, that's the whole analogy behind this chapter. So therefore, the Buddha said the only way to actually stop ourselves licking on this knife is to develop and cultivate this awareness of our own mindset at any moment of life. What moment of life? Right here, right now. What do I have? Do I want to lick this knife because of that little honey on that blade? Or do I want to walk away? Because we know that only tip of honey is not going to get rid of my hunger, right? So the more I lick, the more I wanted to lick. The more I want to lick, the more I will cut myself. Am I going to stop? Can I stop? I can. We can. In this last 7-day course in Hong Kong, I had 101 students. And there were quite a few people with very, very serious, severe anxiety and depression. And they take it out on themselves, or they take it out with sex. And there was one person, she has so many one-night stands. She came to tell me. She just couldn't stop it. The desire was so strong, so she just picked up any guy, anywhere. Just one-night stands. And I said, I'm glad that you came to the meditation camp. She said, I want to change. I know I'm creating so much difficulty for myself. I know I'm creating so much danger for myself. I know I'm walking down the wrong path. But it's so difficult to change because the habit has been developed for so many years. I said, well, it doesn't happen in one day because you don't become like this in one day. And don't expect it to become like you can become a saint at the end of 7 days, right? I said, but all you need is to be aware when that kind of craving comes up at any moment of life, because it will be very, very overwhelming because it's such a strong habit. It will be very overwhelming. I said, when it comes, it will be so overwhelming that you will feel it in your body. You will feel it in your breath. You will feel it. If you remember me, if you remember the breath, if you remember mindfulness, just bring it back right away and see if you can put a brick onto that reactive old habit pattern. I said, all you need to do is just you go down the slope and you break. And you just put break once. If it doesn't break, you go and find one-night stands, it's okay. Next time, another break, and the break will last longer. Then it may last you 2 days. And I got a message from her on New Year's Eve. It was so pleasing. It was such a gift to me. She said, I have been constantly putting on the break, and I haven't had any one night stands since the meditation camp finished on the 18th of December. Wow, that was powerful. It put me on tears, actually. I mean, it is not easy. I know how much she suffered. How much she suffered in the sense of like not able to fulfill that kind of craving. She need to draw herself so badly back to this break, but she did it. And she said, now I know I can do it, sister. I just hope that it will last longer. I said, well, you just keep doing it and let me know. And let me know. I will keep encouraging you. I'll keep supporting you. I'll keep sending you metta. And that's what you need. You keep going to the group sitting every Friday, okay? So that's how, it can be corrected. It can be changed. We can be transformed as long as we allow ourselves. As long as we say, yes, you can do it. Try. If you cannot do it this time, don't put a finger pointed. You see, you are a bad guy. You cannot do it this time. Give yourself another chance. But don't use that chance as an excuse. Because more excuses you give to yourself, you more hurt you bring to yourself. Yeah. What a touching story, hey? What an inspiring story. That was so good. I said, that's worth all the traveling, and that's worth all the efforts, that's worth all the tiredness. Just one person get one big thing out of the meditation. It's just, I said, you have given me such a big, wonderful Christmas and New Year's gift. Great. Okay, so therefore the only way to cultivate, to actually stop licking this, is to have this awareness and be able to put a break on, and to bring ourselves back to this awareness of our own body and mind, set body and mind existence at that time, and see if we can maintain that awareness for the next few seconds, next few minutes, so that we will stop, continue licking that honey on that sharp blade of knife. All right. Okay. So since this is still New Year, and I wish your 2017 be happy, be healthy, and be peaceful. And I'm sure this will be a good year. Okay. All right. Let us dedicate our merits. Let us bring our attention back to this body, to this breath, and knowing it's constantly changing. With this experience, and let us allow a good thought to arise on our mind. For all the benefits that I gather from hearing the words of the Buddha, may I share with all beings, human, non-human, visible, invisible, big or small, far or near. May they be free of miseries. May they be free of enmity. May they start to live in a world with brightness, warmth, and experience love and peace. May more and more people will encounter the words of the Buddha, to study, to practice, to liberate themselves, to untie all the ties, all the entanglements of their own dissatisfaction, sufferings, miseries, and be happy and be peaceful. I wish you all to have a good 2017 and be happy and be peaceful.